This is your Barbados Today Morning News Update for Wednesday, June 12, 2019. Thanks for joining us. I'm Carol Williams. The accusations have been rejected. Organizers of the just-ended Barbados Manufacturers Exhibition, BMEX, say claims that some exhibitors were forced out due to the presence of the Ross University School of Medicine aren't true. The accusations were made by Democratic Labour Party leader Verla de Pisa after a tour of the exhibit on Monday at the Lloyd Erskine Sandiford Centre, the same location where Ross University operates. But in a hastily called media conference yesterday afternoon, the organizers said they had to clear the air about what one official described as fake news. BMEX coordinator Wendy Burke was particularly pointed in her response.
We all found it a bit appalling and alarming this morning to see the information out there, because she had the prime opportunity to ask any question she wanted during that 2-hour tour which she was on with us. She did no such thing.
Dean Straker, chairman of the Barbados Conference Services Limited, which operates the center, said they tried their best to facilitate all the tenants and users of the location.
We had acknowledged that we would be losing a little bit of space because of Ross University, and I think that came up to about 5 to 7% less space than we had last year, and this was not a problem as we adjusted our fees to suit. We also made more space available on the outside to help compensate.
A top police official is reporting an increasing number of residents appear to be growing cannabis. Acting Assistant Commissioner of Police William Yearwood believes this is in response to the closing off of entry points of drugs into the country by lawmen. Yesterday, he reported that for the first quarter of the year, there were 468 drug-related cases brought before the courts. Of that amount, 185 were for possession of cannabis, while 15 cases were for cultivation of cannabis. A breakdown of last year's figures for the same period wasn't provided. At the same time, the acting assistant commissioner told the media that the shortage of manpower is affecting their ability to make a further dent in the drug trade.
We have been, as I mentioned, interdicting drugs coming into our borders, and both at the airport, seaport, and the cultivation on land. As I mentioned as well, having done the interdiction, then persons have sought to increase cultivation inland. And we have problems with this, but we have been making seizures. We have not been getting people convicted in such matters, but we have been stemming the flow of drugs on the island. On one end, if you get the drugs, it stems the flow and the use of it on the island. But as I want to mention here that such operations can go for days, and we are currently some 280 personnel short because of persons either leaving the force or retiring, and so on. So we do not have the manpower to go into lengthy operations, but I still believe that we can do better in some areas in terms of identifying who the people are.
The attorney representing a member of the Coast Guard in a court-martial is objecting to the continued uncertainty in the matter. Ordinary Seaman Tyrell Gibbons is accused of violating the Official Secrets Act by wrongfully communicating information. His matter was adjourned last month due to procedural concerns, a situation that again prevented the court-martial from moving ahead yesterday. Now, with no set date for the matter to recommence, Queen's Counsel Larry Smith, his defense attorney, tells Barbados Today this isn't fair to his client.
The difficulty I have with that is that a person who is charged with a criminal offense in the civilian system, in the criminal matter, has a right to know when his trial or her trial is going to be had. When the matter is coming up next for hearing, you cannot have a charge hanging over a person's head without a date. That is a problem. So before he could respond, the court had gone, but that is something which I have some concerns about. Okay. Because the soldier who is charged is also, as a human being, he has a life. He just cannot be walking around for the next, I don't know, 6 months, 12 months, as the case might be. It could be 3 days, I don't know. But the whole point is that you do not know when, and it's a criminal charge, you should know when your next date is.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
In Antigua, the attempted murder charge against a mom accused of dousing her daughter with a flammable liquid and setting her ablaze in 2016 has been dropped. The incident had sparked a national outcry and outpouring of support for the badly burned teen. Yesterday, prosecutors withdrew the case against the mother since psychiatrists said she was suffering from a mental illness at the time of the incident. More from ABS Television News.
1st of January 2016, the country awoke to news that reigning Miss Teenage, Shavisa Gasper, was in hospital with 2nd and 3rd degree burns about her body. The government assisted to have Gasper flown to Paris, where she underwent months of treatment. Many expressed shock and dismay after hearing reports the 16-year-old was set ablaze by her mother, Nicole Pitter. Almost 3.5 years later, the High Court is satisfied Pitter cannot be held legally responsible for her actions. This is Pitter speaking to ABS News last month about an unrelated event. Shortly after the 2016 incident, psychiatrist Dr. James King concluded she was not cognitively intact and did not have the capacity to make logical decisions. Dr. King's findings are supported by a recent evaluation conducted by psychiatrist Dr. Griffin Benjamin. Dr. Benjamin says Pitter, who had delivered a child less than 5 months before the incident, was suffering from postpartum psychosis. This is a rare mental health illness that can affect women soon after they've delivered the baby. Symptoms include hallucinations, delusions, depressive moods, suspicious feelings, being fearful or confused, and behaving out of character.
And finally, on the international scene, Botswana's High Court yesterday ruled to decriminalize same-sex relations, making it the latest African nation to do so. France 24 has the details.
It's the end of a law that is more than 100 years old. On Tuesday, Botswana's High Court ruled to overturn 19th century laws that criminalized homosexuality. In its ruling, the court said, quote, that human dignity is harmed when minority groups are marginalized, adding that laws that banned same-sex relations were discriminatory. For LGBT activists, the decision was just common sense.
The arguments for decriminalization are basically the right to expression, freedom of expression, and the right to privacy, the right to equal protection of the law. And then the argument against, they said this is a Western agenda, like homosexuality is not, it's an African, and they see it as an alien thing.
Homosexuality had been illegal in Botswana since the late 1800s, back when it was called Bechuanaland. The laws were introduced by British colonial rulers. Up until decriminalization, people who engaged in same-sex relations could face up to 7 years in jail. Homophobia is still deeply rooted across Africa, where same-sex relations are outlawed in more than 30 countries.
And that's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook. And sign up for breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM. I'm Carol Williams. Have a good day.